it's nice to have a win like we had, and nice that DJ broke the record. We knew he was going to do it sooner or later, and it was nice that it was sooner than later. But now we have to turn our attention to the next game. Can't think about that anymore, and can't talk about it much anymore, because we're playing a team that right now is 0-2, but has an amazing record at home. And their first two games were on the road. Their record on the road's not very good, so they struggle when they go on the road, but they're really good at home. In the last 5 years, their home record is 35-2. They've lost 2 games at home, so the record shows that they're a much different team at home than they are on the road, and I'm sure so we're going to get the best team they got. So we better have the maturity about us to go about our business and get ready to play like we have the first 2 games.
Rocky, the Aztecs and Northern kind of carbon copies of pushing themselves to the top of the conference bowl games every year, success, etc.
I think we have similar philosophies. They've been to 8 straight bowl games. They want to run the ball first, and they want to use play action pass. They do it a little different than we do. They use a lot of tight ends instead of a fullback, so they'll use 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends at times, and the other tight end ends up being a fullback most of the time. But so they have what we call 12 personnel and 13 personnel, 2 tight ends or 3 tight ends in the game, and 1 back, 1 tailback. And then if they get in long yardage or they get behind like they did last week, they go to the spread, and they're pretty good at the spread. They run some plays that are unusual, and the quarterback carries the ball a lot. They will block it, so the quarterback runs power plays and such. A couple years ago, they had a quarterback that rushed for over 4,000 yards. Excuse me.
You look back at the game Saturday night, how much of the Cal offense was the excellence of their quarterback and looking at the film? Did you guys make some mistakes? Did you not execute some things that you wanted to execute, or was he that good?
The receivers are fast, and we weren't ready for their speed, and the quarterback is good. But you have to give their offensive line credit. We didn't get the kind of pressure we needed on him. And we did make some mistakes on combination routes in man coverage where guys came completely wide open. So there's a lot of things. That's the best thing about it. We made a lot of mistakes on both sides of the ball, and we still won, so we could be pretty good if we can stop making mistakes.
Their defense is more, or their offense, like you said, is more run-based. Do you feel like that's more suited to your defense? More so than Cal's high pace? No,
I think it causes an issue because we've been playing 2 spread teams. Now all of a sudden we're going to play a team that wants to run it. Once you get into the season, you don't do much physical work where you actually take on blockers and actually tackle people. So it's the same struggle that people that play us have. They practice against the spread in practice every day, and then they come against the pro set, and all of a sudden they're at a disadvantage. So we've been practicing for 3 weeks against spread teams and spread scout teams, and all of a sudden now we're going to play someone that wants to run the ball. I would say that's an issue. I think our defense is set up fine for either one, pass or the run, but you still have to take on blocks and get off blocks and make tackles.
The great success that DJ has had, can you talk about the strengths, power, vision, extra gear? What's made him a great college back?
You said every. I mean, any good running back you've ever seen, he's got all the traits. He's not very big. That's the one downside, but he runs big. Ask him about his pass protection. He put a couple of those big defensive ends right on their face mask in pass protection. So he does everything. He catches the ball well. He runs with it well. He blocks well. He does everything well. Probably the best part about him is that he's a team guy first.
How'd the move you put on the goal line in that 3 or 4 yard touchdown run? I mean,
You mean at the end?
near the end of the game, I
It was planned that way. It was blocked that way, and no way. I mean, that was blocked for him to run the ball the other way. Obviously, he saw something that everybody in this room carrying the football wouldn't have seen. And he probably saw that it was going to be hard to score the other way and that the pursuit was going too fast, that if he was able to plant his foot and go back the other way, he could outrun him for a touchdown. I mean, great running backs have that skill. I don't think it's taught. I think the vision is something that they come with. I think people teach them to believe in their vision, and he obviously saw that there was a way to go and change his direction and score a touchdown, and not many people would get away with that. Not many people are going to see it, number one, and not many people are fast enough to get back there and outrun him to the corner of the end zone.
Rocky, you talk about your kick returner. Seems like another guy who's got pretty good vision, a whole other level of speed.
Yeah, Rashad has a real knack for returning kickoffs, and he never did it before he got here, I was told. And we blocked that kickoff return really well. Not one guy got blocked. They just kind of got in the way of people that were covering, and Rashad made 3 guys miss and then outran everybody else. So it was a great job of coaching there, as we had that scheme all set up where you don't block anybody and you let Rashad make a miss and outrun him. So obviously he has a unique ability to do that, and he's the record holder, school record holder too. There was another record broken. He had tied the record last year with 3 returns for touchdowns, and the 4th one makes him in number 1 place, first place. And him and DJ were the players, Mountain West Conference Players of the Week too, as they should be.
Now that you've had a chance to break down the film, what are a couple things that you're looking to improve on going into this week?
I think we need to continue to get better at throwing and catching the football. We can't drop snaps and we can't throw interceptions. And on defense, I think we need to tackle better. I think in the first 2 games we've missed a lot of tackles. Now I say that and I watch TV and everybody else is missing them too. And it's because you're tackling in open spaces. It's one-on-one tackles against good athletes, and it's almost impossible to tackle a guy one-on-one if he's got enough room to move around. So I don't know how you get better at it, because you can't practice it in practice either, because everybody's concerned with injuries and all that sort of thing. So you go into the games without much practice, and then it's one-on-one in the open field. So I assume that that's the way tackling's going to be. And we'll have the same issues this week, because they run a lot of fly sweep things. They fake an inside run and give it to slot backs and wide receivers running sweeps around the corner, and those usually end up one-on-one tackles in the open field.
Rocky, Derek Babish played a ton of snaps the other night. Would you think of his effort?
I thought he struggled early, and then I thought he got much, much better as the game went along. I thought he really played well in the second half. And that's probably because he hasn't played very much at game speed, and it took him a while to get into it. But I thought he really played well.
Did it show you the potential of what he could do as this season progresses?
Yeah, I think he's shown that he can hold up on the other side. I mean, we even had our best corner get beat deep. So even the good ones get beat sometimes, and he got beat early and came back and made 2 great plays. I don't know if you remember him. He tipped the one that Cam Kelly intercepted in the end zone, prevent him from touching, and then he broke up a pass on 4th down in man-to-man. So he made some big plays.
He came here as a walk-on. Is he on scholarship now?
He is on scholarship now. He got put on scholarship in the fall.
What did you say to him when you gave him the scholarship?
Told him we had an extra scholarship available, and we thought he deserved it, so congratulations.
Was he the only guy?
No, we gave Ryan Dunn got one, and Curtis Anderson were given scholarships after fall camp.
Rocky, getting back to Pumphrey, what surprised you the most, or what were your first impressions when he came here as a freshman, and what surprised you the most about who he's become?
I'm still surprised on how well he runs between the tackles. Because when you watch him on high school film, you know he's got great ability to see holes. He's got great ability to make people miss. He can catch the ball really well. I thought he was going to be a guy that we ran toss sweeps, fly sweeps, and put him in the slot and threw the ball to him and maybe be a kickoff returner and a punt returner. I thought he could do all that. I wasn't sure when we recruited him, when he was at tailback, if he could run the power play or the ISO plays or the zone plays and run the ball up inside. And he has done that as well as any back in the country has, at 170 pounds maybe. I read where he's 180. Someone said he was 180. I wish he was.
Going back to the defense in the corners, you said before half when you were asked how they could play better, you said they need to get faster going into the locker room. Did they get faster, do you think, in the second half?
I think they played faster. I think our DBs as a whole got lulled into a false sense of security in the first game. They were able to sit on routes. They were able to let guys run by them and catch up. And all of a sudden they got into a game where they were playing against receivers as fast or faster than them, which means you have to play with a different intensity and you have to play at a different speed. You might have to give a little more cushion. It took us a long time to get used to their speed. And that surprised me a little bit with DeMonte, since he's played so much. It didn't surprise me with the other guys. We play a lot of people that run the spread, and their slots are quick guys but not very fast. Well, Cal's guys were fast. Their slot guys were fast. So it took us a while to get used to their speed.
Talked about last week that you wanted to try to keep them to 70, 75 plays.
Huh.
I know they got into the 90s, but my
Yeah, dang,
concern-
Pumphrey was scoring too fast. You know, he was.
I brought that up. You did. You had so many quick scoring drives that your defense was going back on the field. But do you buy into the concern that being on the field for 90 plays one week could make your defense a little tired the following week, or does that not affect a group of college games?
Well, first of all but 3 guys didn't play 90 plays. Some of them played 70. We had one guy, if you count the penalties and all that, Calvin Munson played 103 plays. Alex Barrett played 96 plays. Kyle Kelly played 91 plays. We had several others that were in the 70s. I think that there is concern going into next week that if you don't give them enough rest, it's a delicate balance. You have to practice, because we're going to be practicing today and up until game time against a completely different offense that we've seen the first 2 weeks. So you have to practice, but then you got to be careful not to bang them around too much because they're tired and sore and worn out. So it's a delicate balance. If you'd have told me we're going to play 100 plays on defense and win, I would have bet you we weren't. But we did, so we got to live with it. It's better running 104 plays on defense and winning than 70 and losing.
Rocky, going back to the great game that your coaches had, I wanted to ask, obviously it comes down to players, but how beneficial is it to a head coach to have the kind of experience on your staff that you have?
I think we have experience. I think we have really good coaches. Experienced coaches can draw on things that young coaches can't, from past experiences and those kind of things that allow maybe a little more insight to how to prepare a game plan and maybe how to handle when things don't go right. I think we're a pretty stable group because the guys that are running the 3 areas of our team are former head coaches or head coaches that have been around quite a while. So we don't overreact either way. We don't get too excited because things go right, and we don't get too down when things go wrong. And then you can always draw from experience when they start giving you something that you haven't practiced against. You can kind of come up with an idea to combat that, make changes with your game plan to combat it. Now, whether the players can adjust that quickly, some can, some can't. I mean, we did some things at halftime that helped the defense get more pressure on the quarterback, but it's still, our players had to be old enough and mature enough to adjust and run them the right way, because it could have been a disaster if they run them the wrong way.
Rocky, you talked a lot about what you and Illinois is going to bring on offense, running the ball more effectively. What are you expecting from their defense?
This will be the fastest defense we've played against this year. They're not as big or as strong as Cal was, but they're much, much quicker and faster. So we have to be able to maintain blocks and keep our angles correct on blocking schemes so they don't jump around us and make the tackle. And they'll run some people down, and they'll play pretty good man coverage, so we're going to have a receiver or two that can beat really good man. They have a really good corner, as good as I've seen in a long time. I know his number. I think I can't give you his name right now, number 19. That plays as good a man coverage as anybody in the country. And there are times that we're going to have to be able to beat man coverage if they are jumping around us and making tackles at the line of scrimmage. So it's the fastest team we've played on defense so far, so that's a concern.